Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I am your podcast host here on the show today. And today we have Tyler Amundsen, CEO of LightDoc, joining us to share his journey in business ownership, some challenges and best practices that he's learned along the way to give you that sneak peek into what it's like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Well, welcome, Tyler. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Kay. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I'd love to learn a little bit about you and a little bit about LightDoc.
Yeah. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in Kansas City and went to KU, studied business, and was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do post grad. And so, I ended up taking a free sort of night class seminar that was around startups. And it was literally called Startup School. And that kind of got me interested in the idea of starting a technology company, but figured I would be better off going and learning the ropes on someone else's time and figuring out a great company to work for. So I spent some time at a FinTech company called C2FO, had a really great sort of foundation of learning there, but spent about 3 years there. And that towards the end of my time at C2FO was when AI kind of broke out onto the main scene. And so that was really the catalyst for launching my first company. So I looked, okay, there's a huge implication for what this technology means for businesses. And I have a ton of processes within my teams and the products that I've launched at C2FO that I think could be useful here. But I really looked at my sort of sphere of influence and the people around me. And I come from a family of insurance professionals. So we've started hitting the ground running and just developed AI solutions for insurance professionals. So our thesis was basically, how can we look at the redundant sort of tasks in knowledge work that surround unstructured data? And the thesis was, can we make those jobs a lot more efficient? And turns out you actually can. So we started with some low hanging fruit, ended up just doing sort of like a compliance monitoring solution for insurance agencies while the agents were on phone calls. And during a meeting with one of our customers, they pointed out how there's a ton of inefficiencies around document processing. And they have teams of folks who are specialized in looking at these policy documents, looking at these contract requirements, and a ton of manual processes that exist around that. And so that's where we really found our foothold is, can we take that exact process and reverse engineer it, figure out a way to make AI do it more efficiently and effectively in a way that doesn't disrupt the whole agency's kind of workflow. So that's where we are now. We've got some customers who are using the solution and really getting things off the ground this year.
Hmm. I'm just taking some notes on some of the things that you're saying. This is really incredible. I love that you found this passion, and I want to dive a little deeper into your why. What's the why behind like insurance? Like, what really drew you into blending these two worlds of tech and insurance together?
Yeah, if you would have told me this is what I'd be doing now, when I 5 years ago, I would have completely disagreed. I had not really much interest in going into the family business, but we sort of looked at, okay, what are the industries that do sit on a ton of this data that are kind of outdated, that have the opportunity to be a lot more efficient? And so a huge portion of insurance broker's job is this sort of middle layer between the person who needs the policy and the carrier. And there's a lot of just paperwork and shuffling that exists. And their core competency is, can we sell, can we build relationships, and can we simplify this complex concept of insurance for the customer? They don't really want to spend time on these sort of back office tasks. So I basically went to my family's agency and met with probably 60 other agencies and like, okay, do you have this problem? And our first product was sort of this one size fits one. It was not a very streamlined, everybody has a problem. But once we learned about this sort of insurance use case, it became clear to us that there wasn't, one, an appetite for a new way of doing things, and two, the solution could be one to many. And so that's kind of what led us to make that decision of, this is the path we want to pursue.
I like that you talked about you did like test runs and you asked and you found what was actually needed in the industry. So I think that's really important too. You mentioned we, so I'm thinking you have built up a team within your company. How many team members are you at? Are you looking to grow, and kind of what's your trajectory with your team?
Yeah, there is three of us, including myself. So I am very non-technical. I'm more on the sales side of things and focusing on the customer relationships. And then I have a co-founder who's out in San Francisco. He is really the one who's adept at leveraging these AI technologies. And then actually my younger brother, who just graduated college, is now in the business full time as well, kind of sits on the operations side of things.
Hmm, I love that. And are you looking to keep growing the team? Or are you happy with where you're at right now? Or how does that look for your next year or two?
Yeah, I think right now we are set. The beauty of sort of the new way I see companies being developed is you can do a lot with a very lean team. There's so many technologies out there where it is shockingly easy to get an MVP off the ground and running. And then obviously as you scale, you will need to add headcount where it's necessary. But I believe in lean, small, efficient teams. And I think that's what my co-founders think as well. So for the time being, it's just us steering the ship, but definitely will be expanding. And I'm always trying to talk to people, put people in my corner, collect people who are doing interesting things. So it's always something in the back of my mind. But for right now, we're pretty happy with the current team.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, how are you currently marketing? You talked about sales a little bit. How are you currently marketing your services and gaining clients?
Yeah, LinkedIn has been really, really helpful for us in the sense that video content is undersupplied and there's a lot of demand for it right now. So I've just been literally thinking, here's something I want to share, here's some useful insights. And what I did in our conversations with customers, potential customers as well, was what are the things you guys want to learn when you're looking at content? What does your information diet look like? And then it really boiled down to like three things that our ICP cares about. It's very specific to an insurance professional. They want to figure out how to sell more policies, how to reduce the amount of policies that get canceled, and then how to increase the value of a customer. So it's like these are three buckets of things that we want to talk about. And then how can we say, this is the new technology coming down the pipe and how it can impact each of those three buckets. So we've got a newsletter, we've got content that goes out on LinkedIn, and then a big thing is just when you meet with someone at the end of that conversation, asking them like, who else should I talk to? These are very interconnected networks of industry professionals in insurance. So everybody knows somebody. They all sort of have the same problem. So you can really go a long way with just leveraging that. Hey, tap on the shoulder. Who's the next person? Let me get a warm introduction and start the conversation from there.
Oh, definitely. I think that's a huge component, and that's like a golden nugget of this conversation. I feel is like, your network is your net worth, and especially when you're building something new, to be able to make those handshakes happen in person is huge. So, kind of looking as you're moving into developing your business further, gaining clients, where would you like to see it go in the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think we want to do a lot more of the same. Like we are very focused on this problem space of there's a ton of unstructured data that exists and a ton of manual process surrounding it. So one of the initial things we've done is, you look at who is the kind of end user of our technology, and it's really account managers for commercial insurance agencies. So that's kind of the list of tasks that we look at. And we just look at job descriptions and we say, okay, there's literally 20 different key responsibilities of what this account manager does. And you go down a list of how much of that is done manually, and almost all of it currently is done manually. So we really narrow our focus to those kinds of tasks, and you can just look at a job description, whether it's the manual processing of policies, certificate issuance, auto ID cards. There's a lot of these things that we can do, but it's all around this vein of leveraging AI to make unstructured data more useful and the end user more efficient, so that the account managers and the producers can spend more time with the clients as opposed to shuffling paperwork around. So just going deeper into the problem. And then the other thing that's interesting too is now that we've sort of identified in our workflows, one of the main things we do is we check a contract for insurance requirements. Then you check a policy and you say, okay, what are the gaps between the two? Is there a need for a policy to be placed here? And if there is that opportunity, we've already identified it. Can we streamline that process? So now it becomes not only a service tool, but sort of a sales enablement tool that takes it a step further and actually places that policy without the account manager ever having to touch the account.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love hearing about the future and the goals that you're looking to do and kind of looking back at your journey so far. Can you share about maybe a challenge or roadblock that you faced in business that you overcame and how you did that?
Yeah, I would say, trying to start a tech company without knowing anything about like how to code is not an easy task. There's a huge learning curve, but as far as what we've done, what I've done to overcome that is like you said, your network. Who are the people I can lean on to kind of fill that gap in knowledge that I have? And then what are the resources I can leverage, whether it's just these chat GPT sort of courses, other things out there that you can level up your skill set so that at least you can speak the language and understand what the engineering components are at a high
Mm.
level. That was a big thing for us. And then the other piece, moving down to Austin, Texas, where I'm at now, you kind of start your network from scratch there. So you've got to build that up. And it's not always easy, but the good thing about being in a city like this is there's just so much happening and so many ambitious people that you can very quickly sort of build up a network. And everyone's kind of here from a different place. So they're all in this mindset of like, let's establish connections. Whereas in your hometown, everybody's got their groups, they kind of know what lanes they're in. So I think moving to a new city, while it presents an initial challenge, the upside is way bigger when you actually can build a bigger network and get out of your comfort zone.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you there. That's exactly what it was like for me when I moved here. So I'm glad you say that and see like leveraging that opportunity. Kind of that leads me into my next question around goal setting. So looking at how you set goals, maybe goals you set in the past, what is your kind of your secret sauce to goal setting, or do you have one goal at a time, or how do you tackle your goals?
Yeah, I think, there is so there's an interesting philosophy on this. I think Jensen Huang from NVIDIA has this like we have a North Star where we know we want to go, but we're not really big on the actual goals as far as here's the year end goal because things change so much in the early days. Like you just need to set a North Star. And then what's more important than the output is what are the inputs? What are the things that we need to do to get us towards that? So whether or
Mhm.
not a certain outcome is hit, how can we measure what we're doing each day to get us towards that? So for us, if we want to grow our network of agencies that use our technology, what are the inputs that we need to be doing and setting the goal there where we can focus on what we can control and constantly evaluate on a weekly, daily basis. Are we making the right moves to get there? But as far as, pie in the sky kinds of goals or setting these 10-year, 20-year time horizon goals, in a startup, you got to be agile. So you focus on the inputs with the North Star, and then you kind of get out of the way and let the people who are rowing in the boat do their jobs and you make progress.
I love that. Another golden nugget for the conversation. I like that North Star idea and approach to goal setting. This has been such a fun conversation, and I want to dive into it's called our rapid fire questions, where I ask you four questions where you answer very top of mind. So are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's do it.
All right. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
A key to success for me, I think, is not being complacent or comfortable. I think if you invert that, what is a surefire way to fail is you're just doing the same things again, you're making the same mistakes again, you're not surrounding yourself with people who are pushing you. So it's literally I like to just invert the problem and say, what could I do to ensure that this isn't going to work out? And then I just do the opposite, right? It's like a good way to think about it. So yeah, like staying constantly curious and always learning. That's a big thing. And then when it comes to like a team and having sort of that dynamic be successful, how can I make sure that I'm letting people set their own goals and understanding what their motivations are and the why behind it. So there's a quote I love: if you have a why, you will find a how. So really drilling deep into what is the why behind what you're doing, and the path to get there will make itself known as long as you're back to inputs, chasing those every single day.
Oh, definitely. I love that. And the second question is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Well, uh, I would say if you're not already, figure out which areas of your business you can leverage AI. It is here. It is going to change everything. There isn't an industry, there isn't a role type that isn't going to be impacted by this. So if you aren't already thinking about it, just take a very fine-tooth comb to every angle of your business and where you're spending a lot of time that isn't going to deliver the highest ROI, and figure out a way to kind of back into a very easy, simple, easy proof of concept way to inject AI into your business and just start learning the tool. There's so many ways you can try new ChatGPT models, build your own kind of coaching bot. There's so much out there that if you're not learning it, you will just get left behind. And so that would be my biggest piece of advice. I'm not going to tell someone how to run their business, but at the end of the day, this technology is going to be impactful, and everyone should be looking at it seriously.
Definitely. I feel that too. And question number three is, what is a book, or it could be any piece of content, podcast, anything that you've taken in most recently?
Right now, I'm reading the biography of Sam Walton, Made in America. Just a Walmart story. Very interesting. I love to read biographies. You can kind of get into the minds of really successful people and see how they think and what their journeys were like. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned there, and the mistakes they make, how can you try to avoid them? So that's one I'm really enjoying right now.
Oh, definitely. And the fourth question is, if you could wave a magic wand and rapidly overnight improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Ooh, I would say um, probably that I would love to have faster feedback loops. In a B2B sales motion, it takes a long time to get to the point where the hypothesis that you have is even testable. So, how can
Mm.
you compress that time to insight and make the learnings much more fast and much more quickly available? In the D2C world, you can put something out there and test it really quickly and instantly get results and recalibrate. In B2B, it's a little bit different. So we're always looking at ways to compress that cycle time and understand, okay, what can we do to quickly learn the insight we need and then make a decision based on that.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you for sharing your rapid fire questions. Before we get to our final question of the day, how can people find you and get plugged into your business?
Yeah, you can go to our website. That is lightdoc.ai. And my LinkedIn, Tyler Amundsen. I'm on LinkedIn, pretty active there. And then our page is on LinkedIn as well, LightDoc.
Thank you, Tyler. And for the final question for today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring thing to me, I think we're probably on the precipice of one of like the greatest increases in human flourishing with technology. Like there is so much advancement happening, whether it's material sciences, drug discovery, quantum computing, going to space. Like there's so much going on that is going to push us into a new stratosphere of what humans can possibly do. And there's a lot of scary things happening, but there is this huge glimmer of hope that is being pushed by technology. And you see it every day. Every headline seems to get crazy. There's another rocket going up into space. It's an amazing time to be alive. And every day I wake up just ready to get after it, and blessed to be living when we are.
Oh, those are wise words. Thank you so much, Tyler. It's been such a joy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Kay. It's been fun.